can begin our session. I'll just mute everybody. Again, I request all participants, please turn on your video feed. It's much easier to interact. Those who can, please do turn on. Let us begin with the invocation. Saraswati Namastubhyam Varade Kamarupini Vidyarambham Karishyami Siddhir Bhavatu Me Sada Vasudevam Sutam Devam Kamsachanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. Hari Om. Yes. Can someone recollect anything that we have seen last? If you can, yes, I think you can directly unmute. Yes, please. Can someone recollect what we have seen last? We need to form that link. Yes, please. Some connection. Yes, please. Anybody?
Krishna talks about the four varnas he has created.
Okay.
Then he also says that one who knows divine, he cannot be bound by desires, like mumukshus he was talking about.
Ji.
And he also talks about karma and akarma. I mean, one can understand between, there is no confusion because that is the realization.
Yes.
And success and failure or joy and sadness, they don't, affect him who has reached that realization.
Okay.
Then he just touches that the realized person, the mind, heart, and tongue all should be,
one.
Uniqueness.
Okay.
And then pranayam also he has touched on that. By pranayam also you can have the sadhana.
All right. Ji. Yes, sir. Prakash. Ji, sir. Thank you very much. Anybody would like to add to what Om Prakash ji has shared? Please feel free to unmute. Yes, sir. Badrinaran ji.
He is a person who does not seek any gratitude and his activity without desires.
Okay.
And in whom the fire of knowledge is burning every time.
Yeah.
And he who has given up the attachment and the desires and is undisturbed in any situation, he is he is in a very blissful state.
Okay.
In the midst of any activity also, even if he is detached, he knows he is not the doer, but his work is getting done.
Absolutely.
By the grace of the Supreme Lord.
Absolutely, sir. Absolutely. That is what we can say. One state where it's like an autopilot. Karma is taking place. Action is being done. My friend, he's a colorectal surgeon in the UK. He has done so many procedures that his hand starts moving on its own. He doesn't feel like he is doing anything. But where he has to intervene, then he intervenes. Otherwise, he says, yeah, I allow my hand to go because so many times these procedures have been done. That skill has come into the hand. Well, a yogi is doing that all the time almost. It is where he is doing the works, but he is not thinking he is the owner. Intervening, yes, he is in the midst of activity. He is able to do so many things, but he is not getting trapped in those actions also. That is what we can say, a complete liberation. I think Om Prakash ji and Badnayan ji gave a very perfect explanation. The karma bandhana is burnt by that fire of knowledge. Meaning it is something like every action that such a person performs, it is like an awakened action. Such a person cannot be trapped easily. I think many times in school, when there's a new teacher, students decide to take all the pranks and everything because they know that new teacher does not know anything about this class. So they make their pranks and the teacher then gets trapped in the karma bandhana because one student wanted a reaction. His entire aim is to get a reaction from the teacher. Something funny, something humorous. But when the senior teacher comes in, the same trick will not work because there that consciousness has come. Something like that, a yogi is able to, he's not having those reactions. Whether success or failure, he is not just, fluctuating like a pendulum. He is there, he is balanced. His every karma is consumed by that fire of knowledge. That means his ordinary karmas start transcending from ordinary karmas and become what we say divine karmas. That is where our actions become divine. Krishna talks about making our life divine, or Sri Aurobindo has beautifully described the divinization of life. Even in the material world, we can divinize the material world. That is the entire crux of his yoga as well. So that is what Krishna is saying. Brahmarpanam Brahmavir Brahmagnau Brahmanahutam Brahmaiva Tena Gantavyam Brahma Karma Samadhinam. So the karma is becoming Brahma karma. Everything. Why? It's offered to whom? It is offered to the Brahma. There is no idanna mama, not me. The ahankar of the person. He doesn't think I am doing everything. I am a part of a universe. Yes, the drop can be proud of being the same as the ocean. But the drop alone is not the ocean. The drop is a singular entity. The drop should not start imagining it is greater than the ocean. It is something like that. The yogi is conscious of the divine and yet is performing all works in a complete state of detachment. There are ways, Krishna says, ways with which these offerings are made. Some, they have their choices. I said the example of a friend of mine, he would offer coconuts in return for good marks. Now, that's not really the best exchange rate you can think of with God. But that Shraddha was there, so he did that way. But then there are some, I had a friend who would pray for somebody else, but not for him. He said, I will not pray for myself. Whatever marks have to come, let them come. I can see this friend of mine is under a lot of pressure before the exam. So I'll pray for my friend to be calm and peaceful. Now, both have the same exam. Both have their careers at stake. This happened during the board exam. Now, was that person foolish in not praying for himself and praying for the divine, or will the divine intervene only because he has prayed, or it will be because of the karma and consequence of the karma? Well, that is also some way. Some people offer only for their gods which are going to fulfill. They feel this God will fulfill my desires, so they make their prayers. Some others have understood the meaning of sacrifice, and so they don't ask anything in return. Then there are others who try to hear only the beautiful right words. Badrinathji wants to ask something. Yes, sir. Please go on. Or share something.
Or
Yeah.
share.
I'm sorry, I muted you by mistake, sir. Please unmute again.
No, you said your your friend was not praying for himself,
Yes.
and he was praying for somebody else who he felt was very weak. He was nervous.
Yes.
He could not perform well in exam.
Yes.
I believe that is the highest form of prayer, or
Ji,
a
sir.
prayer without any self-interest.
Self-interest,
And,
no?
when you pray for others, naturally that prayer also helps you to heal yourself. That's what I believe.
Absolutely. It's a kind of evacuation. Niswartha way, we can say, without any selfish motive. It's simple. And it's like little actions can become, we don't have to always do that. One friend of mine, he went to Canada. It was his first experience. A wonderful physiotherapist who works very hard, and monetary was not well off, and still he had to work so much, and he finally got a good job. He went to Canada, and on the road, he saw somebody struggling. So he started helping that person, taking some of the items from his truck which had fallen down and helped him put it back inside. It was just a normal thing which he would do, the normal attitude which he would do. Suddenly that person took out a note and he started handing it over to him in return for the help he has done. He felt very insulted. He said, what is this? I did just because I wanted to do. I didn't do this for this money, and he's offering me money. I refused. He said, this is something very new. This is an experience I have not. Because he knew that his work, that is something. This is what Niswartha Karma is, something which is very special. It is a beautiful joy. It comes out very rarely because everywhere it's always transaction. What I'm going to, sometimes people do yoga sadhana also with a aim. I want to advance on the spiritual path at this particular rate only, at this particular speed. And I want to advance like this. I want to go to level 1, then level 2, then level 4, then level 6. These all levels of spiritual path also, I don't think there are such concrete levels. They are creations of the mind. Somebody on level 1 can suddenly have an exponential rise of consciousness. Buddha says we are one spark away from realization. But this happens. The mind keeps playing, mind keeps dividing. I think Badrinathji really pointed out something interesting. Yes, that is the best type of prayer, which is coming from the heart. You want to add something else? All right, Ji. And we'll go on. Yes, please.
One thing I want to add is, they always say that when you have a universal prayer,
Yes.
you are also a part of the universe.
Yes.
And then you have a prayer like Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. When you say
Yes.
Loka Samasta, the entire universe is there.
Universe.
Not pray for yourself. You are a part of the universe.
This
So
is not
naturally, all
selfish. No,
the
it is
blessings.
connected with the higher self. It is not the selfish self, the small self. It is connected with the higher one. When will I be happy? I will be happy when my sister is happy, my brother is happy, people around me are happy. So one way I am being selfish when every day I pray Sarve Bhavantu Sukhina, Sarve Santu Niramayaha, Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschit Dukkha Bhag Bhavet. Meaning all around me are happy, then I will be happy. But that is something which I think Badrinathji also pointed out. For the betterment, this is actually connected with what Krishna talked about previously in the last Adhyay, Loka Sangraha, betterment of the world. So that is one type of prayer. Some people try to hear their Shruti, they want to hear only the right things. So they control what they hear, they avoid things which they don't want to hear, only auspicious things, only they don't want to go and engage in only, like if people are talking of swear words and talking only about desires and gossips and everything. So sometimes some people feel, no, I don't want to pollute my ears. I want to hear certain wonderful things. Why should I go there? Why should I hear? They say no. Sometimes people even they watch a lot of ghost movies, and this person says, no, I don't want to watch all of it. It will play in my head. I don't need it. The person immediately walks away. Something like that. The yogis try to hear only what is auspicious. Badram karne shrunyam devaha. They seek that only. They offer complete self-control of their desires. Some, the sound, the music, they offer the best music. Through music also we can do sadhana. If everybody, it is something which everybody must try. If we don't know to sing also, let us try to sing from our heart. That is one of the very special experiences of life. Sur, etal, all that, it's okay. It will come when it has to. But from the heart, if you can try, because that is also a sadhana. And it is said, Nada Brahma. Why bhajans, kirtans, all these things? There is an importance to all of it. It raises a consciousness of a person. So many interesting bhajans are there, whichever connects to a person. So some, that is one more offering which people do. Thus they offer their senses through self-control. Then I'll just come to you, Badrinathji, maybe if I think your hand has gone up, I'll just finish 2 more shlokas and come to you if you have something to say. So some of them consecrate their every action. They practice complete austerity. I will do every action consciously. Even if I want to take a pen from my table and keep it elsewhere, I will do it consciously. I know what I have kept. It is something like that. Some people are so conscious that even you move a little. One friend of mine is there. I just for the teasing him, I moved one object on his table when he went outside of the room just to see if he notices. He came and he said, "Why did you move this? What was the reason for you to move this?" That conscious he was. He was actually aware of all of it. Well, that is his was a little bit of a OCD, which he had to later on change. But the yogis are actually aware what's going on because they are having full control over self, control over all their actions. And because of this, they start becoming more conscious. And what happens? It raises their awareness. So it improves their perception. Higher perception will lead to what? Heightened understanding only. Heightened understanding will again raise consciousness. It is like a continuous self-perfection they keep following. Some others offer material offerings. They have a lot of things which they can offer. They start offering the best, whatever they can offer. Some go on, they, like we saw Jnana Yajna. What is this in Bhagavad Gita? What are we doing? We're all sharing perspectives, studying what little we understand. We pour together and try to understand something which was told so many thousand years ago in its context with our everyday life. So there we are understanding what we have read. We are trying to connect the dots. And in that way, that is leading to a knowledge where sharing takes place. Like today, now Badrinathji just gave me one beautiful perspective of my friend. I knew him as a childhood friend and whom I have always been teasing only. Now I can see in a different light that see his prayer was actually a universal one. Well, like that, there is also some who become conscious of their prana. So much that they say, see, life force is keeping me alive. Let me do sadhana of prana only. Let me do pranayam. Sri Aurobindo's guru had introduced Sri Aurobindo to pranayam, and Sri Aurobindo went on for 9 hours a day pranayam. And what experiences he had afterwards is actually a very different thing. What awakening and all the other aspects that take place. So prana, apana, controlling of all this breath, inhalation, exhalation. Then that was one more type of sadhana. We go to 30th shloka. Before that, I'll just go to what Badrinathji wanted to share. Yes, sir. Did you want to add something? Please feel free to unmute, or we'll go on. Yes, sir.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
You
Yes,
are
sir.
talking of singing. So
Yes, sir.
recently, maybe in the last 3, 4, 6 months, few songs, I just try to sing. And what I've experienced is you get immersed in yourself. And sometimes when you sing
Yes.
with knowing the meaning of the song, I'll just utter one line of it.
Absolutely.
बाबा तेरी कृपा से सांसें मेरी चलती है, सांसें मेरी चलती है. You really get so touched, you feel my sans is going only because of you, my Lord. So you totally surrender. That is one thing. And one more song, I'll just sing one line.
Okay.
Prabhu ji दया करो मन में आन बसो. Oh Prabhu, दया करो, come and sit in my heart, be seated in my heart. Like that. That song is very beautiful. Okay, thank you so
yes,
much.
thank you very much, Padinaji. Hari Om. Yes, yes. So I think there is something. If we have not sung, let us try. Let us try also. It's never too late or never too early also to sing. So let us continue. Krishna goes on, 30th shloka. Not just the breathing, even the food that they consume, that is also offered by sun. Krishna says, Apare niyataharaha pranan praneshu juhvati sarve pyete yajna vido yajna shipati kalmashaha. There are yet others who regulate their food. They are life forces. They pour into the sacrifice of life force. Sacrifices meaning all these beings have truly understood, and in its fire, they obliterate their sins in life's course. So, as they do sadhana, they become more and more purified in their consciousness, and they keep receiving the wisdom, a higher wisdom, which is probably, they say, Adhyatma Vidya is said to be a higher Vidya than all material sciences. That does not mean material sciences have no value, they are brilliant sciences, but there is a higher science which is connecting the dots of all these other sciences also. Ancient India, that was the thing, isn't it? There was no so one-dimensional development only. Art, science, adhyatma, all were not different. All were interconnected. It is something which was understood. So Krishna says, as people do these sacrifices, they have understood the principle of yajna, they have understood the true meaning of sacrifice. And so as they practice it, they start obliterating all their wrongs. I think that's the best thing we should do instead of going and trying to find mistakes in somebody else. Our own body, our own mind, our own emotions. We have so many things which can be corrected and made better. So this sadhana helps a person and helps in what we can say chitta shuddhi. Many times people, big CEOs of organizations take a broomstick and start cleaning. They go to an ashram and start taking a broomstick and cleaning, and everybody wonder what are they cleaning, why are they cleaning? Well, it is for chitta shuddhi only. Maybe they are cleaning all the dust on the floor, but as they are doing that, the dust inside also starts getting removed. That is the entire purpose of sadhana, and what we can say the inner meaning of sadhana has been clearly understood by such ones. Krishna goes on. He says, Yagnashishtam Mritabhajo Yanti Brahma Sanatanam Nayam Lokoste Yajnasya Kutunyaha Gurusattama. Post sacrifice, those who enjoy the ambrosial nectar left over in the eternal Brahma's consciousness, they hover. Meaning, after doing the yajna, whatever is remaining, it's like after giving the shares to everybody. I think in the home, when mother cooks, she gives everybody first the food and last she only eats. sometimes the quantity which she eats is so less. But if you ask her, she says, no, my stomach is full. I enjoyed it. And truly, if you just try cooking for somebody else, you serve everybody. After you serve, even if you get little bit, you feel like you've already, before eating that, only looking at the trupta faces of people who have eaten what you have cooked, you feel that is a ananda. We can call it equal to soma also. Krishna is saying, after yajna is done, after distributing of all the shares, when you consume the remainder, such person is already raised in consciousness. Is why people have to go and unnecessarily rely on drugs and alcohols. It is not required when you can actually get into a state of ananda in a very natural way with no side effect at all. People don't realize it because they have not understood the meaning of yajna. But those who understand, they hover in that consciousness. Krishna goes on, when even this world isn't for those who sacrifice, not if not here, oh Arjuna, elsewhere can anything be got. Simple as that. Krishna is being practical. He says, even this very this Srushti is without sacrifice. Can we get anything in life? Anything. Is it possible? No, this is a simple rule of the world. So when you cannot get anything here, what are you imagining? Some 5 BHK, 10 BHK in heaven? What are you expecting there? Krishna is telling, look at this world only. The rule of sacrifice is here. Here also it is there. Which other world are you searching? Many times people go in aspiration. They understand that they'll get something afterwards. So they keep doing all this swartha is accumulated for the heavens only. But Krishna is saying, look here first, see in this world. Let us continue. Krishna goes on, Evam bahuvidha yajna vitata brahmano mukhe karmajan vidhi tan sarvan evam jnatva vimokshasi. Into the fiery mouth of Brahma, these sacrifices enter through many different ways, whichever one may offer. Know these as the ways of sacrificial works that must be. For this is the knowledge that shall free and set free. So this is the knowledge which will liberate the person, and this is the knowledge which will help that liberated person liberate others also. One lamp lighting many other lamps. It is something like that. Because it all goes to that divine only. Krishna says, into the fiery mouth of Brahma, all these sacrifices, they are becoming the fuel for burning that fire through many different ways, whichever way one may offer. Know these as the ways of sacrificial works. Understand that this is the way of the things. Whichever way you offer, it is going to that same divine only. This is something which people must realize. Many times people get unnecessarily confused. They think this is a different way, that is a different way. This is not leading to that place. This is somewhere else. I had gone to a temple, outside of a temple in search of Bilva Patra. We don't have Bilva trees nowadays in the city. So the only place you can probably get is the temple because it's offered to Shiva. My teacher had asked me to go and get it. And I was a little ignorant that I did not know exactly where that Shiva temple is. So I went and I asked outside of the temple that I want Bilva Patra. The lady got so angry. She said, you have come to Perumal temple and you are asking Bilva, as if I've insulted Vishnu, because it was a Vishnu temple and Vishnu does not like Bilva. Vishnu likes Tulsi, and I have insulted him by asking Bilva. She was so angry. I actually said, sorry, I'm sorry. I did not tell her Rudranam Shankarashtasmi. Krishna has told Vishnu and Shiva are one. That would have given her heartburn, or I don't know what would have happened. But she was so angry. So she didn't realize it. That's a problem for her, not for Shiva or not for Vishnu. They're not going to have a wrestling match who is more powerful. Let me see and all of that. But the growth of consciousness is not getting for her because as long as she remains in that divided status, she doesn't realize that all prayers are going to that one place. It will not allow her to grow. Krishna is saying that is the knowledge which will free a person and which will liberate. Dinesh ji wants to ask something. All right, Dinesh ji. Yes, please. Please go on.
Yeah. So in this shloka, Krishna talks about the benefits of sacrifice, right?
The last
Yeah,
many
so
shlokas are talking about it. Yes.
yes. So actually, So should we call it sacrifice? That is my point, because there are so many benefits, and this sacrifice.
We can call it yagna. Oh, you mean with the word sacrifice in English makes us feel you're losing things. But here
Yeah, yeah,
actually there are so
right.
benefits. It's not like a sacrifice.
Yes,
Lovely, lovely perspective.
right.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, you got it. Yes, so that's so beautiful. You don't feel like you're doing sacrifice. That is actually sadhana also. People think life is like this. I have to now walk on a spiritual path. Now, what is this spiritual path which is different from the material path? When you realize it, it's all life is one. Sri Aurobindo says all life is yoga. Means the entire life is on the path of yoga only. And what is it? What is extra which is different here, which is not there? Everywhere it's an integral approach, something like that. So yagna, what yagna am I doing? Nothing belong to me, everything belong to the divine. Tera tujhko arpan kya lage mera is a simple prayer, which is done in different artis, where that consciousness is there. Yes, it becomes easy. Sadhana also becomes very simple. That's a good perspective, Dinesh. Thank you for sharing that. Let us continue. Krishna goes on. Yes, we stopped at, we stopped at 20. No, hold on, please.
32.
Yes, 30, 32. Yes, 32. 33rd shloka now we will go. Yes, please. Yes, Shreyan Dravyamayad Yajnad Jnana Yajnaha Parantapa Sarvam Karmakhilam Partha Jnane Paris Samapyate. Over any material sacrifice that is performed physically, superior is the sacrifice of knowledge that is done intellectually. O Arjuna, all actions always ultimately reach, culminating in knowledge, the supreme truth they teach. Meaning all these actions, they are actually being done for a purpose, for bringing that realization. That is the entire purpose of all of these actions. Krishna is saying better than doing just a dravya yagna, a material yagna of offering, a ritual like offering without knowing its meaning. Understanding it and doing is much better, is what Krishna says. And there is something higher, this knowledge, sacrifice that is done. Means where you are raising your consciousness and becoming understanding. Agni, if you look at the first sukta of Agni Sukta, Agni Miye Purohitam, everybody memorize that sukta of the Rig Veda, they do the Agnya. But how much do they realize that that Agni is also inside of their heart? That Agni is rising. You are calling upon Agni. You study that Agni is the priest, he's the intermediary who goes, invites the gods. But isn't Agni taking our aspiration and prayer? Isn't it flying? Raising it. It goes from the ground to the top. The movement is always upwards. So simple as the human aspiration. Sri Aurobindo in Secret of Veda has given a very beautiful, what they call esoteric meaning. All these Rigvedic suktas have a hidden outer meaning for those who don't have that consciousness. They are taught the rituals. So at least through rituals, they'll understand something. Doing the ritual action also will give a knowledge. And then there was that hidden meaning for those who were already initiated. For them, each of these sukta was like some algebraic code, which allowed the person to raise to that consciousness which was reached by that Rishi. That Rishi never worried about anything. They released the wisdom, but they released it in such a beautifully codified manner or cryptographic manner, that outer meaning and inner meaning. So Krishna says, yes, outer meaning is good. Understand it also, but also see what is the inner meaning, which is much better. Because ultimately, the purpose of the yajna is to raise the consciousness. Look at even the Rig Veda, so many devatas are invoked, 1,000 suktas. All those devatas are invoked, and finally, the last sukta is towards human beings. Means after Vishwe Devas, Agni, Varuna, Mitra, Vayu, Ila, Saraswati, Bhaga, all these devas, devis, Usha. After that, finally, it is for they say Sangyana Suktam. Samgachadvam, Samvadadvam. May we be happy and may we live in joyous communion. May we understand each other. Now look at that 5,000 plus several thousand years ago. That aspiration of the Rishi, it is still to be established, isn't it? among everybody. So the higher consciousness spreading, becoming oneness of spirit. If you look at it in a literal way, everybody should be same. You should be talking this way only. You should wear this dress only. Now, wouldn't that be a very boring world? Leo Tolstoy's son had told this to the mother of Sri Aurobindo Ashram, that that is the only way world peace can be established. Everybody should have same religion. Everybody should have same language. Everybody should have. She immediately asked him, wouldn't that be a very boring world? And he didn't have a reply to give to her, because you will never get lost, because all the scriptures, they are done with that purpose only. Let us continue. Krishna goes on. Tadvidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshanti te jnanam jnaninas tattva darshinaha. Krishna says this: by humbly bowing to a true master, and by worshipping, and by questioning, and by dutifully serving, these preceptors who possess the divinity and foresight shall bless and part you their knowledge's light. Why it is said Vande Guru Parampara? We have this Gurukul system which has been going on for so many centuries. Why is that? Why did people go? Krishna also went to a Gurukul. What was the reason for Yogeshwara to go to Gurukul? He goes to Sandipani Ashram and does the other works, does those regular chores, gets sticks and other activities, cleaning, everything. Why? Because that is a simple way of bringing humility. And you know what happens? It's like you create a vacuum inside by throwing out ahankar. Then there's a nice force of the divine wisdom which will enter. And where better can it come than from the Guru's mouth only, or directly? Why is this Guru Parampara established? My Guru had told about his Guru. He told me about how he had worked so much efforts. To me, my Guru has done so much. I see he has struggled, gone all these experiences, so difficult experience. But he says his Guru had told that I have just gone to Narmada and everything. I have done very little. My parikrama, everything is nothing compared to what I received. And they are receiving some knowledge which is getting what we can say through their sadhana, and it is passed on. It is passed on. That is what is the Guru Parampara. We saw loss of transmission. Well, here this is one place where transmission loss does not take place. If we connect, so here Krishna says, and here there is a freedom. Sanatana Dharma does not say you cannot question. By questioning and also by dutifully serving, what will they do? They will pass on that foresight, which will then bring that light. What is the role of a cat in a chemical reaction? Anybody? Does the catalyst take anything for itself, or it remains the same? Inert, isn't it? What hastens the reaction? It's something like that. Krishna goes on. He says, Yajnatva na punarmoham evam yasyasi pandava yena bhutanya sheshena drakshasyaatmanya yathomai. With this knowledge, so here Krishna is telling what happens after receiving the insight from the divine also, from the Guru also. Means it's like if somebody tells you have to go to some cold place like Shimla or something, you'll immediately make arrangements, isn't it? You will get the clothes, whatever you require. Something like that, Krishna is saying what will happen after the Guru has passed on the wisdom. Krishna says that knowledge will liberate. He says, with this knowledge, O Arjuna, you shall know the true way. You will know the way. That's what Arjuna wanted, isn't it? He's like, I don't know the way. Show me the way, teacher. He says, Shishyasteham Shadimam Tvam Prapannam. Show me the way. I am confused. I do not know. I do not know the right way. What is Shreya? What is the correct thing which has to be done by me? Let me get that wisdom. So here Krishna says, with this knowledge, O Arjuna, you shall know the true way, and your mind's ignorance shall never lead you astray. See, you shall first in all living entities the self's presence, and then witness you shall in myself every being's existence. So Krishna is talking about the highest realization also. First, you will find the right path, then you will be able to find the divinity present everywhere. Sri Aurobindo was in his Alipur jail. There was the one big ploy of the British forces. He was inspiring people like Subhash Chandra Bose with his fiery writing. It was legendary. That time there was no WhatsApp forwards and all. But his writings would be circulated quietly, printed papers, and it would just beautiful, flawless English, of course. But the fire, it was a spiritual fervor. So they wanted him trapped. So they put him into the famous Alipur conspiracy case. You could Google that and see the experience. It's a very beautiful one. But there, inside of the jail, there he got the experience of Vasudevam Sarvamiti, meaning everywhere he saw the divine. In the grating of the prison, the rods, where in the blanket he saw Vasudeva, he saw in the prosecution Vasudeva. He used the word misused bodies, looking at the other petty criminals who were not freedom fighters also. They were also in that lodge. He was just in a small 6 by 9 feet solitary confinement in a dark place. But there his entire sadhana happened inside of jail only, where nothing, if you say some people would grow mad, people would lose their sense of what we can say direction. Here the awakening only took place in the most unlikely of places. Why? Because the divine consciousness is present everywhere. You can access it anywhere. Krishna says, when you find the right way, ignorance inside of you will be destroyed. Then you will be able to recognize the divine's presence in all living beings. And then you will see everybody situated in me, meaning the oneness, that experience. Ekameva Dvitiyam Brahma Sadasada Rupam Sadasadatitam Nanyat Kinchitasti Trikalatam. Trikalatita means beyond all three times, beyond past, present, future. That supreme realization that can be got is what Krishna is talking about. And this is possible for whom? Is it on? What do you think? Is it possible for everybody, or it's for those who have only done some great punya karma? When we say Sri Aurobindo or we say some great yogi, we say, look at that yogi. He's already. People say sometimes this person is already reached some status. We are so far away. Don't give me that example. Even Janaka Raja, one person had told me, no, give me a more practical example. These are all very high people. I cannot become like that. So this realization that Krishna is talking about, what do you think? Is it possible for anybody? Yes. Yes, Shivaji?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, Shivaji says yes.
If we
Anybody
follow-
else?
Yeah.
Yes, sir, you were saying something? Please go on.
The essence of Gita is just for that, for everyone
Okay.
to, it's just passing a message to everyone. You
Yes.
never know who can be that person.
Yes, absolutely. It is something that so clear as that. Anybody, anyone can get that realization. Let Dinesh, she wants to add something. Yes, Dinesh ji.
Yes, but we need a teacher like Krishna.
Yes, but why not say Krishna Mande Jagat Guru and get the direction from Krishna, make him conscious. We know the story of Ekalavya, isn't it? Ekalavya's teacher didn't want to teach him only. Still, Ekalavya was such a good Shishya that through the statue only Dronacharya taught him. Maybe Dronacharya taught him better when he was a statue. Then really that's a different aspect. But like you said, okay, we need a teacher like Krishna, then make Krishna your guru. Many times they say, Guru bina jnana kahan se paun? Without a guru, how will I get how will I get my knowledge? Where will I get? Sometimes people get emotionally disturbed. I don't have a guru. Where will I find? You don't have to go searching for guru, and you cannot find on Google also or anywhere else. It is not a process that needs to be done by searching. The student has to be ready, and the universe will connect, because there is a beautiful chain, a network which is behind the Maya, which we cannot see. That network will correctly bring about things, but for that, the student must be ready. So, till then, hold on to Krishna or hold on to your Aradhya. Krishna is not saying just hold on to me only, so I get more brownie points, or I can show my thumb to other devatas that I have more followers. No, Krishna is not caring about all of that. He's not wanting. It's just whichever divine you connect with that Aradhya and recognize the Aradhya as your Guru. We have a beautiful example of so many Shishyas. Look at Ekalavya. Why go to Ekalavya? Just look at very recent times of, you see, Totakacharya is a beautiful example. He was just Giri in his mutt, he was known as Giri only. What was so special about Giri? Everybody said there was nothing special in Giri. Why is he here was the question. Everybody wondered, because Giri didn't have extraordinary wisdom. Giri didn't have that much kind of what we can say skills, because everybody around him were extraordinary. All the other Shishyas had some brilliant experiences, who had done absolutely brilliant works. But he would always ask his senior, will I get knowledge? When will I get knowledge? Will I get some wisdom? Will I get it? What happened was, one day the Shankaracharya wanted to conduct a satsanga, and Giri was not there. Other Shishyas were present. One Shishya joked and said, why should we wait for Giri? Anyway, if he comes or doesn't come, it's going to make no difference. It will go over his head only. Should we wait for him? The Shankaracharya said, no, wait, he will come. And at that time, what was Giri doing? He was actually washing the clothes of his guru in the stream. And there, he suddenly got, it's like my guru is calling me. He got that strong feeling and he just came running. And as he was coming running, he got a great inspiration and he came in front of the Shankaracharya. He just bowed prostrated to him and started a composition which was so great. It was called a Totakashtakam, an Ashtakam in a Totaka meter, which is said to be very difficult. Later on, he became what they call him Totakacharya. He became the Madhadipati also afterwards. Somebody who didn't have a talent also could get it. That is the Krupa. They say Dhyana Moolam, Guru Murtim, Puja Moolam, Gurur Padam, Mantra Moolam, Guru Vakyam, Moksha Moolam, Guru Krupa. Krupa is there, it can happen. But for that, don't worry or don't cry. I can tell you that because I sat in front of Buddha's Murti for several months crying. My parents thought I'm under a depression or something because I felt I need to find a guru, and it's not required. We shouldn't go searching. We just have to be ready. And that when we are ready, that change takes place. The connection happens. So Krishna says that only, that this will allow a person with that krupa, he will get that realization. And who can do it? Let us look at the next shloka, shloka number 36. Asheshani api chedasi papebhya sarvebhya papakrittamaha sarvam jnana plavenaiva vrujinam santarishyasi. Even a sinner who has the greatest sin performed, even the worst of sinners who may have done the worst sin, Krishna says, by this knowledge, by the realization, the sinner can be reformed. So he can be reformed. Surpassing the sea of wickedness, he shall pass through, boarding the ship of knowledge. He'll cross a horizon new. A new horizon will arrive in that person's life. The sinner can get transformed completely also. This is the power of knowledge. This is the power of this, what we can say, realization, which can completely reform an individual. He may be something different and suddenly absolutely a different person afterwards. Many times it is said when you get Guru Diksha, they say it is like a second birth. A new birth of consciousness takes place after that. Something like that happens because a complete change takes place. Anybody knows the story of Valya the hunter? Have you heard of him? Valya the dacoit, or whatever way you want to call him. Yes? Badrinathji?
Is it Valmiki?
Yeah, we all know Rishi Valmiki, but yes. Ashaji, you were adding some. Yes.
Who was a dacoit?
Absolutely. Yes, Ashaji, you want to share that? Yes, please.
Yeah. Narada questioned him whether whatever he's doing, all the crime he is doing, whether anyone in his family will stand up
bear
for
the
him.
sins.
He was very confident that they will stand up for him, but when he went and asked, none of them
wanted.
own up. They say, that is you doing. Why should we take the blame or take the punishment? That's the time realization came to him that whatever action we do, we have to take ownership for
ownership.
punishment also.
What actions we are, consequence will come to us. We cannot expect because he was somehow justifying his way of life because I'm doing it for my wife, for my children, for my aged parents. So he came and he tried to rob Narada. Now, what can you rob from Narada other than wisdom? And that wisdom is free, for he wants to pass it on only. So this Narada is, somebody's screen is not muted. I'll just mute everybody for a second. Hari Om. So Narada, if you see, he was stopped by Valmiki. Narada is a Muni only. We have seen Munis don't have Bhaya don't get Krodha, they are already beyond this. So he's not afraid of this Valya. And Valya is like having a knife weapon with him, and he said, why are you doing this? He said, I'm doing this for my family. He said, will they also bear the consequence of your sin? He said, of course. I've been doing this. They are getting all their comforts because of what I do. He said, yeah, I will not go anywhere. You ask your men to hold me and hold me as a hostage. I will stay here. Just go talk to them and come. So he felt it was silly, but he said, anyway, that Muni has asked, I am anyway going to take care of him. Let me fulfill that wish of his and let me go. So he asked his wife, his dear beloved wife, for whom he has done so many things. He says, will you bear a consequence, a portion of the sin? Because afterwards, I know it's wrong, but I've been doing it for all of you. Will you bear a portion of it? He was like, no, I never asked you to do. She only wanted the malai, not the, what we can say, papa from that. So she refused. Then he decided, let me go to my parents. At least they have given birth to me. They will look at me. They will bear a portion of my sin. He goes to his parents. The parents say, no, we are old now. We don't want to bear all of this. This is not what we want. But they wanted all the benefits, but not the consequences. He was very disappointed. He said, at least let me go to my kids. He goes to his children and asks the same question. Children say, we are so young and innocent, you can't force us to bear this. This is your action, your karma. You are going to bear those consequences. That was the point. He just realized, see, what am I doing? I'm doing this for everybody, and yet they're not bearing these consequences because I only have to bear my whatever papa I have done. This, when they say Jaisi Karni, Vaisi Bharni, like that, sometime or the other, not now, later on, it will come. And the consequences will not leave me, so I need to change. And for him, that was the moment of transformation, actually. And then he started the japa. Even the japa, it is said he was doing it wrongly, Mara, Mara, Mara. But because he was sincere, it became Rama, Rama, Rama only. So this is so simple as that transformation when he became, then he is now considered as the most exalted Rishi. Look at that. Dacoit becomes a Rishi. How great is that? How many of us are dacoits, or how many of us have stolen things from people? Have we held anybody hostage? Are we having some cases of kidnapping or something like that over us? No. So if somebody like him can become transformed, I think there's a lot of scope for all of us also. We don't have to think that, no transformation can take place now, not this life. I have to wait for 500,000 more lives, or this kind of thought people keep getting unnecessarily. Krishna is saying, no, anybody can get transformed anytime. That is the power of knowledge. Krishna goes on. Yathai dhansi samidhognir bhasmasat kuruter jana jnanagnihi sarva karmani bhasmasat kurute tatha. Oh Arjuna, just like when an inferno blazes, what does that fire do? An inferno just raises everything, all trees, plants, building, anything comes in its way, it's gone, it's destroyed, reduced to dust, bhasma. That is exactly what knowledge does. Krishna says, oh Arjuna, just like when an inferno blazes, everything its fire consumes, burns and raises. The fire of ethereal knowledge, everything burns, every actions and works into ashes, it turns. It converts everything into ashes or bhasma. Krishna goes on further. He says, Nai jnanena sadrusham pavitram miha vidyate tat swayam yoga sansiddhi kalenatmani vindati. More immaculate than this, there is nothing. There's nothing more perfect or more pure than this. Then the radiance of knowledge is unadulterated light. Pure Shuddha Jnana, that knowledge, the light of knowledge, when it comes, a person becomes calm, peaceful, realized, liberated. There are, what we can say, adjectives are not enough to describe a person who has got that awakening. Tat swayam yoga sansiddhi kalenatmani vendati. Means that person, he naturally, by that knowledge, he automatically gets the siddhis also, the realization also. He who has integrated the yogic principles in everything attains in himself the true self's insight. So what we were talking about, higher realization, probably siddhi is, anybody can tell me what siddhi is? Yes. Anyone, if you can just unmute and I'll just see if
is it perfect or expert, like in Ayurveda, Siddha?
Yeah, we have Siddha Thailam, which we manufacture. We call it Siddha, means it's like accomplished. That oil is perfectly ready.
The best.
There are Siddha Lakshanas, means tests for understanding the Siddhi. Or there are other Siddhis also. I think Ashaji has talked about the Siddha is what we can say accomplished, realized. But there are Siddhis also, isn't it? Ashta Siddhis, different what we can say spiritual powers, prowesses. Clairvoyance is also one of the siddhis, what people say, something like that. Krishna is saying it comes naturally to that person. One small example I can think of, one we saw about pranayam. Well, there was one sadhak, one Kusumben, her name is, she's no more now. She lived till she was probably 95, and she had come to my teacher to learn about pranayam. She was already in her late 80s that time, so senior, and she came to learn from Damleji what is pranayam. I want to understand about Anulom Vilom. But about her was she was following what they call integral yoga, always practicing yoga with the divine, always at all times. On the outside, it may not show. On the outside, she was in charge of the perfumery department. She would look after so many things. She would have the accounts. She would be aware of what is happening, interact with the staff at her place. But after the work is over, her sadhana would go on. Her work was also her sadhana. It was something which was happening. So it was a little interesting for me to see, because what a senior lady who has dedicated her entire life for a particular practice. And she is coming to, she went like a small child with a pen and paper to understand about pranayam. Damliji started talking about pranayam. Then as he talked about Anulom Vilom, I think we also saw yesterday that this particular pranayam, if it is done by the yogis, both their nostrils are activated. Now, she was somebody who least cared about siddhis or anything. But when Damleji said that such a person's nostrils, of a yogi's nostrils, both nostrils are activated, she hit her head like this. Acha, mujhe laga koi gadbad hai mere naak mein. She had already got it and she didn't even realize that it had become a part of, because she was so conscious in all her moments. She would say, Mataji sab karti hai. So she did not care. She did not try to understand what is Kundalini, what awakening, all of that. She just kept doing her karma. And so I have never seen somebody so simply negate a realization. She was like, it was just told that to her that, see, both are active. She thought, acha, so it's not a problem in my nose. That's all she thought of. So this is how it happens. Naturally, the realization comes when the awakening takes place. It is so simple as that. Brahmar will blossom, come when the lotus blossoms. It's a natural reaction. Nobody has to do anything. Nobody sends an invitation to the Brahmar, come, the lotus is ready. The scent of the lotus will attract that lotus bee. Something like that. The awakening will come naturally when you integrate in all your actions, in all your dimensions. That's what Krishna is saying. He goes on further. Again, now Shraddha comes again into the picture. Shraddhavan lavate jnanam. Tatpara sayatendriyaha. Jnanam labdhva param shantim achirena digachati. He whose faith, his Shraddha is strongly ordained and a control over senses, he who has attained, he is by the supreme knowledge enlightened, and his ascent to absolute peace is ascertained. Shraddhavan labhate jnanam. We saw that, isn't it? The case of Totakacharya. Giri, what did he have? What great talent did he have? No supreme wisdom, maybe he had. I'm not trying to judge anyone, but I'm just saying from what I little know about the story, that maybe as a young Shishya, he did not have that much talent compared to others, but he had one thing which was like a trump card over everything, which is sufficient. If this one thing is there, it will give everything to you. That is Shraddha. And the only problem is Shraddha cannot be artificially cultivated. It has to come out naturally. It's like when you watch a movie, and if it is a beautiful movie with a touching topic, if it touches you, your tears come out, isn't it? Nobody can say cry now and so you will cry because this scene is there, now you have to cry. It comes out naturally. It's something like that, that fountain of Shraddha, it is which comes naturally, and Krishna says, Shraddhavan labate jnanam. Meaning Shraddha is going to bring knowledge. Now people would say, how is this possible? Knowledge is different, Shraddha is different. Don't mix, people say, don't mix religion with science. Now, where is religion here? Shraddha is Shraddha. Shraddha is beyond all of this. Best example I can think of is Mr. Arun Tiwari. I have a good, what we can say, somehow because I'm a mechanical engineer and somehow he connected with my poetry. We became friends, though I'm not on everyday conversation. But he is the one who is a Shishya of Dr. Kalam, who has written the book Wings of Fire. He was explaining about so many things, how Shraddha only helped him so much. He completed successfully developing some one cylinder for the titanium for the Agni missile system. After that launch, his guru, Dr. Kalam sir, tells, see, this medical technology is very costly. You go and develop using this technology, develop some civilian medical devices using this knowledge. Now, where is mechanical, where is medical field? Absolutely different. Science is something, and he was into metallurgy and all other sciences, not body sciences. But his guru tells him. So he goes with full Shraddha. Just Shraddha that, and his very beautiful experience. That time they didn't have phones and all to communicate. His guru had told him also, go to this place. That person will meet you. That's all. He didn't even know why he was going. He was just told, go and meet. And when he goes to meet that person says, welcome, sir. You are the director for this project. He was surprised that he didn't know he was the director till he got introduced by that person. Just following, that was his way. And he said, I learned about medicine. He said, engineers, we will do good jugad. We use our mind and correctly what is required. I didn't learn about medicine, but I learned what was required. And he developed what is the cheapest heart stent in India. India's first indigenously developed what they called Kalam Raju stent with Dr. Soma Raju and Dr. Abdul Kalam. And he named it after his guru. Look at his selflessness. Again, there also he named it after his guru. And that benefited transcendently so many thousand people. Lakhs of people in India. Then there was a Pan-Africa network between India and Africa also, and so many countries in Africa got benefited by this technology. If you look at it, somebody who was intelligent but not having Shraddha, would have said, no, it's not possible for me to enter into medical field. I'll have to do MBBS, then I'll have to do this degree. Instead, what did he do? He connected with the doctor. He didn't try to say, I'm more smarter than you or something. He just said, this is what I understand. This is what you understand. That's how collaborations can happen. And I would say for him, the base was a Shraddha in his guru. That was it. And that came out of some experiences, of course. But this Shraddha is important. Shraddha will give us knowledge. Without Shraddha, we are very poor. And with Shraddha, we are the richest people in the world. Kuber can also become poor compared to us if we have Shraddha inside of us, which is a plenty. That is sufficient. Less can become more also. That gratitude will just keep flowing. This is what Shraddha is. Shraddha can give knowledge, is what Krishna is saying. Shraddhavan levate jnanam. He whose faith is strongly ordained. A control over senses, he who has attained, is by the supreme knowledge enlightened, and his ascent to absolute peace is ascertained. This aspect of realization of knowledge, many places it happens like a descent from the divine directly. But for that, if the pitcher has to at least be empty, isn't it? Then only something can be poured. If the pitcher is already full with so many other things, what can be stored? Something like that. We will see this concept of descent in many parts of the Gita. Krishna is talking about it. He says, later on, Dadami Buddhi Yogam Tam. He says, I will give you Buddhi also. It's okay, don't worry about it. But create the ground for reception. That is important. Krishna goes on. So this person with Shraddha will get the highest knowledge, is what he says. But then, without Shraddha, what happens? Krishna goes on. Ajñascha Shraddhadhanas Sanshayatma Vinashyati Nayam Lokosti Naparo Na Sukham Sanshayatmanaha. The one who is faithless and ignorant, for whom neither this world nor the other is existent. By infinite doubts, his mind is plagued, and by his own skepticism, he is destroyed. What happens when there is no Shraddha? What's going to happen? When you don't have faith, then there are doubts. So that person this is not a curse. Krishna is not saying, this is blasphemy because you are not having Shraddha. that means I'll curse you. No, he's not saying that, he's cursing. The individual is cursing himself by having doubts. And what happens when doubts plague a person? The person's personality is only completely destroyed. 100,000 doubts will arise inside. It's like a hydra, only monster, which is just going, continuously creating one doubt leading to other to another. That is what is the problem what Krishna is telling to that person who is faithless and ignorant, for whom neither this world nor the other is present. It's not in this world. I don't have faith in this world also in another. Swami Vivekananda had said, it's like at least have faith in you, if not in God, at least have that much faith in yourself. If you're not having that, can I do a simple action if I don't have faith in myself, if I'm doubting me? It's something like that. Shraddha is so important. You can move mountains, you can drain oceans. Faith in thee, faith in God is what Swami Vivekananda talked about. Means that you have faith in God also and in yourself as well, that you are the instrument and the divine is functioning. Well, let us continue. That person, he is going to be destroyed by his skepticism. This is not some curse which has been put. It is just a karmic consequence of doubts. Doubts will plague that person who has no Shraddha. Yoga sanyasta karmanam jnana sanchinna sanshayam atmavantam na karmani nibadnanti dhananjaya. O Arjuna, he who has above doubts risen and sacrificed all, desiring nothing for himself, is no more bound in karma's prison, for he has attained a true knowledge of the self. Krishna is saying the prison doubts actually chain and make us slaves, our own doubts. Well, why ourselves? Look at even the great Anjaneya. He had a doubt, isn't it? Whether he has the strength. So what had to be done? Somebody had to go and whisper into his ear, what are you worrying about? You can take a leap which is 10 times this distance also. You have that inside of you. And when that was told, he realized, Manojavam ma rutatulya vegam, jitendriyam buddhimatam varishtam, vatatmajam va narayutamuktam, Sri Rama dutam, sharanam prapadye. That's why we worship this duta of Sri Rama also. Because brilliant one among the wise also and among the strongest also, both strength and wisdom, a great combination. Dineshji wants to raise something. I'll just look at the next shloka and come to you, Dineshji. Yes, please. So this person, Krishna is saying, has attained that true knowledge, and that is why Krishna finally gives him an important word. Because what has happened to Arjuna right now? He's afraid. He's full of doubt. He said, it's like karpanya dosho pahata swabhava. He says, I'm having fear inside of my heart. I don't know. Our hero is only feeling like that. And he's lost all his strength. It's like Superman's kryptonite is just next to him now and all power's gone. That's what's happened to Arjuna. And that's why Krishna says now, he says, Tasmad ajnana sambhutam vritstam jnana sinatmanaha chitvainam sanshayam yogam Atishta Uttishta Bharata. How great luck he has got. We have prayers where Uttishta Govinda, Uttishta, all this we pray to God and ask God to awaken. Here God is only praying to Arjuna and saying Uttishta. He says, Yogam Attishta Uttishta Bharata. Oh Bharata, rise now. Rise is what he's saying. He says, therefore this ignorance that your heart has borne, let its veil be shred and torn. Break this false disguise of ignorance that is covering the brilliant sun. With the saber of knowledge, besiege its disguise. O son of Bharat, attain the union. Awaken, arise. This is very similar to Swami Vivekananda's words also, isn't it? Arise, awake, and stop not till the goal is reached. Something like that. Krishna is saying, come on, throw this fear inside of your heart. Use knowledge as a weapon. It is a saber which can tear this wheel, which is just a thin wheel, which can easily be torn. Rise up, O Arjuna, is what he is saying. I'll just go to the first shloka of the next Adhyay, because Arjuna has something. But my question is, before that, before looking at Dinesh's question also, I will ask a question. Krishna has so beautifully told a great secret of Shraddha, great secret of sadhana, so many things. What do you think Arjuna is he going to relate to it, or is he going to doubt? Because just now Krishna has told, rise above doubts. Is Arjuna going to have doubts? Is he going to say, Krishna, what are you talking about? Talk something which will connect with me. Because he was already saying, when Krishna was telling, I taught the sun, he said, how do you expect me to believe all of that? Kuch bhi, you are going to tell me and I'm going to listen. That's not happening, Krishna, is what Arjuna is saying. At least now, because Krishna has told something very practical, isn't it? He's not talked so much metaphysical like in second Adhyay right now. What do you think? Anybody? Scale of 10, again, Arjuna. What do you think? What would you say? How much of it has he got? Yes, please.
Now it will be 7 to 8, I think.
Okay, Dinesh ji is, suddenly given a good passing marks to Arjuna, 7 to 8.
Yeah.
All right.
7
7.
numbers.
Okay, 7. 7. Anybody else wants to add? Or we go ahead. Arjuna is going to display his report card, the very first shloka of the next Adhyay. Let us look at that shloka and we'll stop. So we have got a 7 out of 10 for Arjuna. Let us see. Again, no, I'm sorry to Arjuna. We're just doing it in a lighter manner. No insults meant to anybody. Arjuna uvacha. Sannyasa karmanam Krishna punar yogam cha shansasi yat shreya etayorekam tanme bruhi sunishchitam. He says, tell me clearly. Tanme bruhi sunishchitam. Say one thing, don't say two things. Krishna is very clearly being told by Arjuna. Arjuna said, oh Krishna, the virtue of renunciation of action you praise, and yet a union with the divine in all actions you raise. Of these two, which is the best? Please do tell which is the way that will augur me well. He says, what is profitable for me? Tell me that. Don't talk about both sides right now. I want only one. So we just stopped here because I didn't want to keep it hanging. Arjuna is still having doubts, though we have given, say, 7 or anything, because we are somewhere in the comforts of our homes or our places. Right now, Arjuna is in a flux of emotions, with a flux of emotions controlling him in the middle of a deadly battlefield, which also goes to show that in life, moments can come which can cloud our judgment. You see, Krishna is saying, Uttishta Bharata, and yet Bharata is not rising. What is the reason? It is not because Krishna is not powerful. It's because the doubts and the moments and the emotions are eclipsing that great Surya, which is maybe even more powerful than the sun that we know. But that is getting eclipsed. So this example of Arjuna is important to remember, that there are moments in life where our skill, our intelligence, everything comes to naught. That is when we have to become alert and we have to rise in consciousness. We can just realize it's because of the indriyas and the mind. Sometimes people get trapped in their mind also. Brilliant, beautiful minds also sometimes get trapped in their own maze. So that is where we have to be careful. So with this, we stop. I'll conclude with the Shanti Mantra and then look at Dineshji's question. Is that okay? Yes, Dineshji, because of time?
Yeah, sure.
All right, fine. Yes, ji. Hari Om. Sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramayah, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kasyit dukkha bhag bhavet. Hari Om Tat Sat. Krishnam Vande Jagat Gurum. Hari Om ji. Namaste. Shubhratri. Hari Om. Yes, to those in India. And Sudhinam will join tomorrow. Yes, Thursday.
Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Hari Om. Namaste. Any queries? Most welcome.
Hello?
Yes. Hari Om. Hari Om ji. Namaste.
Hello?
Hari Om. Yes, Dinesh ji, you are adding something?
Yes, so I have a doubt actually.
Ji, sir.
Yeah, so here first is that what I understand is questioning has been encouraged by Krishna.
Pariprashnena sevaya.
Yeah, 34th shloka.
Yes,
and yet he says that about doubts and skepticism will destroy you. So this is somewhat contradiction, I can say.
Okay.
Okay.
Actually, it's a very beautiful point that you have raised, Dinesh ji. There is something called a seeking question and there is something called a skeptic's question. Means now, if Sri Aurobindo was in Pondicherry doing sadhana Even Rabindranath Tagore came and he addressed him. Everybody called him Gurudev, and he, with all his respect to Sri Aurobindo, says, "You give the direction, India will listen. We wait for your order, we wait for your command." He was almost talking. So we can see that knowledge is there. Everybody knows it. Now, if somebody goes and asks Sri Aurobindo, how many fishes are there in the sea? Now, what kind of question is this? Is this a realized question, or is it a skeptic's question? It's something which is not going to lead to a truth. It's just going to take in circles. So if you see that where it's questioning accepted or understandable, it is in the Guru Parampara. It is said that Sanatana Dharma welcomes it. So questioning is good. Questioning is right. There was one Shishya in a beautiful satsanga. The Guru talked about Aham Brahmasmi. Brahma is inside of me, inside of you. You are Brahma, you are no less than Brahma. Now what has happened is this Shishya has not understood properly and he thinks, I am Brahma. Now I am Brahma. Today onwards I am Brahma. He goes on to the road. And then he starts trying to see that, see, I have got the Brahma's realization. Look at everybody, all of them. They don't have Brahma's realization. I have Brahma's realization. And he starts walking. One man comes running on the opposite side and he tells him, there's a mad bull which is running in this direction. Walk away. Go in the opposite direction. Escape. He just says, this person doesn't realize Brahma is inside of me. He has not got realization. Is puny mortal. That's what he says. And he keeps walking on that same side. The bull comes and hits him. Then he's got hurt. He's wounded. Now he is angry with his guru for teaching him Aham Brahmasmi, because guru has now told Aham Brahmasmi, and this is, what is this? I have got hurt. I am in pain. He goes angrily to his guru and saying, let's see, you taught me Aham Brahmasmi. Look at this. I am wounded. The guru quietly tells him, see, this wounds, while he's thinking, what happened? Tell me the entire story, as he tends to the wound. Shishya says, see, this happened. Then the Guru says, did you not see Brahma coming and telling you not to go in that path? Why did you not get that realization? So sometimes there are questions which are skeptics' questions, but it depends on the Guru actually. Some of them, they are that they can understand. In Sanatana Dharma, questioning the Guru is not considered wrong. But what type of question are you asking? Is it a question which is not going to get answered? Like in Krishna's Butter Children's Batch, we used to get some crazy questions. One child who was just, say, in the very first batch, he was just 6 years old. We say we wanted to encourage questions so that children develop a questioning mind. That was our entire aim. The first question was, why is Krishna having peacock feather? Why is he not having crow's feather? So the teacher somehow answered that question. Then why is Krishna blue? No, that is not connected with the, but why is Krishna like this? Why is Krishna eating butter? Why is Krishna not eating pizza? Why is Krishna not? So what has happened here? The child has got excited with the asking question, but these are not questions which are leading to the truth. They are just going in what we call, they say, intellectual gymnastics or circles. So they are, Krishna is not saying, I'll ban you from asking questions also. The Gita is welcoming from Arjuna all questions. But he's saying rise above those doubts. Rising above doubts can happen only by realization. So that is definitely. So what Krishna indirectly wants Arjuna to do now is raise his consciousness. But if you see right now, what is Arjuna doing? He's again asking a question only, isn't it, Dineshji? And he's asking that, what is this Krishna? You're talking about this life. You're talking about that life. So.
But sir, had he not asked questions, then we could not have got that.
Absolutely. No, we are lucky. And it is actually beautiful because that is why Gita is so special. Krishna very beautifully talks about high Vedantic truths in a very simplified manner. Sometimes it becomes very difficult in the Upanishads.
It's beneficial for us, we can say.
Yes, sir, sorry?
Arjuna's skepticism is giving benefit to lot of people.
But his skepticism also is not complete skepticism. It is having a, what we can say, foundation in Shraddha. Later on, Krishna will be told by Arjuna, I am asking you these questions because Krishna, only you can answer them. Means he has that Shraddha that Krishna will answer these questions, so he is asking them.
Yes.
So it is founded. Yes, he is not bereft of Shraddha. Though he needs to start asking the right questions because Krishna is there, he's asking these questions. Imagine what will happen when he starts asking the right questions. Big, what we can say, he's there to give him everything. Only Arjuna has to rise now. Right now, Arjuna is little old-fashioned. He thinks material life and spiritual life are absolutely different. He says, one side you talk either renunciation or ask me to take part in battle. Don't tell me both. So we'll have to see. It's Krishna's job. Our job is to just enjoy. Krishna's headache, how he answers it. Isn't it, Ji? We are lucky, absolutely, because both Krishna and Arjuna, both are celebrated. That is why their conversation is considered sacred. Absolutely. Yes, Ji. Hari Om.
Yes. Thank you.
Hari Om.
Good
Hari
night.
Om. Yes, Shivaji. Yes, Shubhratri. Yes, Ji.
Yeah, Sushruji, in verse 33, there's a mention of action without knowledge.
Okay.
Like it's a futility of action without knowledge, or rather, the action with knowledge is better than when you do something with with understanding or with knowledge. Now, on a day-to-day level, at a basic level, now one of the things we do to get some discipline to get us onto the spiritual path is daily prayers, for example. Now, does this knowledge refer to the actual, just the prayer part of it, like we do the prayer because we want to get onto the path, or does it go deeper and like we should know the meaning of what we are praying verbatim?
Yeah, like, yes, actually, it's just today we had Badinaranji sharing a bhajan, isn't it? He just shared a bhajan and he got emotional because he connected with that bhajan. Means consciously has gone into the meaning. Many times when we do certain things every day, it becomes a part of discipline, but it becomes mechanical. So we should not just, because like there was a big line of people going for a darshan in a temple. And because the line was so big, there was one lady having great difficulty because she had a child with her. Now this child wanted to pass stools. Now what to do? If I go now, what I will lose my chance for darshan. So what she decided, I'll do something. She did a bit of jugaad or some kind of idea. She covered the child with the pallu and said, you do it here only. Now before somebody else complains, the person, she put haldi and little kumkum on it so nobody sees what it is. But now what has happened is this: somebody saw her putting haldi and kumkum. The person after her in the line also started, and by the time she came out after darshan, she saw a small hill of people doing the things. Same thing everybody is doing now. There are flowers also. So what has happened is, without knowing why people are doing, people started following this lady without going to the base. So many times when we do things without understanding, there is a chance that it allows ignorance to come into the way. That is why Krishna says it's better to understand and try to understand. But understanding doesn't come just like that. So everyday prayers, maybe try to understand the meaning of the little prayers that you are done. Then how you are offering flowers also. Let me offer with this particular way. Let me become more conscious while offering the flower. Means I am offering to the divine. I should not smell it. But that does not mean I should not look at it. No. Let me see the beauty of the flower, offer it, or something like that. Little actions consciously done. That's what Krishna is talking about, actually. Meaning, when we are conscious. Otherwise, sometimes people even throw. Means I've seen one person throw in yagna like this. Yeah. It's like, where is the ahuti? Where is the bhava of offering? That should happen. That is what, that is all. There's nothing wrong in it. There's nothing wrong in it.
I was more referring to, that much is understanding. I mean, I can understand that. But I was more referring to, for example, if you take the Lalita Sahasranam or the Vishnu Sahasranam, we know that it is in praise of the Lord that those things are being offered generally. So we have that bhava. It may come at various points, depending on the grace of the divine. But you may not exactly understand each and every line of it.
No, but now if you are feeling like, now for somebody who doesn't understand and still gets bhava is brilliant. But now if you feel it needs to be understood, then go on Vishnu Sahasranam. Oshade Chintaye Vishnu Bhojane Cha Janardhanam Shayane Padmanavam Cha. That will allow you to, when you are sleeping, think of Vishnu pose. Go into a beautiful, while eating, or Sridharam Priya Sangame. So Sridhar is when a companion is there. Dusvapne Smara Govindam, bad dreams, think of Govinda. Sankate Madhusudana, in a difficult time, think of Sri Krishna as Madhusudana. So all these different names, if you understand the meaning, It will become more conscious, and you will have a joy of remembering it at that time, and maybe the experience also which has to come with it.
Okay.
There's no limit to knowledge, actually. There is no limit to it. As long as we do sincerely, that bhava aspect, because like we saw Shraddhavan Labhate Jnanam. Like you started chanting Vishnu Sahasranam or Lalita Sahasranam, then you did it because of your Shraddha. Then you wanted to start pronouncing it correctly. So that's again one more step. Then you want to understand its meaning. Then maybe you will want the divine to chant with you, and divine will come also. We do not know.
Right.
As a companion. Yes, sir. Yes, Ji.
Okay. Hari Om.
All right. Hari Om, Hari Krishna. Hari Om. Hari Om. Namaste, Ji. Hari Om. Hari Om. I'll conclude the session. Jai Shri Krishna.
Hari Om. Hari Om.
Hari Om. Hari Om, Ji. Namaste.